Probably 2 hours. I mean, that's going to be a long podcast.
I will not be doing 2 hours.
No?
No. No, I will not. You guys can chat all you want, but I will not be doing 2 hours. Sorry about that, Buzzard. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Woo. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast.
Well, hello there, DFW soccer curious. Welcome to another episode of Third Degree, the podcast. Episode 353, it says here, in digital letters and fonts on a computer screen. No more handwritten red crayon goodness.
Wait, and what did I get in the mail?
Oh, are you getting them in the mail?
Carrier pigeon, maybe.
All right, there he is. You hear him in his dulcet tones. It is Dan Crooke. Howdy, Dan.
Hello.
Good week, sir.
It's a week.
Okay. We'll take that as it is. And your hero, my hero, everybody's hero, editor, founder of thirddegree.net. And live from some outpost in the Pacific Northwest, it is Buzz Carrick. Come in, Buzz.
Hey, yeah, it's 40 degrees here right now. It's lovely. It's beautiful.
I'm at a point where I'm trying to figure out if other people in the DFW area have started turning on their air conditioners. Because we're right in that weird spot of it being in the 70s and at night or close to the set. I'm like, is it too warm? Is it warm enough to turn the air conditioner on at night or not? I can't figure that out or not. Or should I just, I guess, open the windows?
Open the windows.
What are you doing, Dan?
Apartment AC with the whole, it keeps it in a certain range, so it stays on year round.
Yeah, all right. Neither one of you are any help. Very good. We got lots to discuss today all across the North Dallas or North Texas area. All the teams appear to be trying to do something, but we will start with the one that's nearest and dearest to our hearts, Football Club Dallas, as they went out to L.A. and bravely fought at a place they've never won before in all the few years that place has been open. And they dropped another one, Buzz, 1-0.
Yeah, well, when you're talking about a place that Dallas is now 7-1, I believe it is, outscored 14-3. Look, it's tough. It's when you're going over to these West Coast teams that are really, really good all the time. They have similar numbers in Seattle and similar numbers in Portland. It is what it is. Inside of that context, though, I thought the strategy was probably pretty on point and worked pretty well. It's hard to argue with what Quill rolled out there, and there's some stats that we can talk about in a minute that indicate that it worked. And Dallas played about as good as they can, and honestly, it took a pretty amazing goal from Martinez to win the game for LA.
How much of the fact that the team appeared to play considerably better and in a place, that they've not played well against a team that everybody considers as a real contender, how much of that was taking Caik and Delgado off and putting on Romero and Valente?
Well, certainly I think Delgado the previous game did not do very well. Valiente looked better. I don't think he impacted the game a ton, but he, the biggest effect in terms of the ability to play through the middle was moving Romero back into the 6, which allowed Kappas to be Christian Kappas to be an actual 8. And the decision-making he's doing in midfield right now is spectacular. I'm not going to claim that he's as good as Yaramendi, but in this particular asset, he's really smart about when to burst between some players, when to take a touch and turn, when to try and play a splitting pass to allow FC Dallas to maintain some possession and actually link through midfield. So that it was remarkable watching him play this last game. I isolated him a little bit. He was just doing a really good job in there. And him having Kappas as an 8 versus a 6 is a big difference in midfield in particular.
Let's see. Other things were all pretty much the same, with the exception of a bit of surprise that he inverted or switched out his wingbacks on different sides.
Yeah, this is the first time we've seen a whole game of the switchfoot wingback. I wrote in the game that I thought Bernie on the right in this game played the best that he's ever played on the right, and actually was playing better on the right than he has been all this season on the left, which is remarkable because Bernie usually is awful on the right.
But can we admit, or can we agree that up until somewhere late in the first half when he took that one really good hit from outside the box, up until that point, he had been awful. He was awful on the right up until that point.
Well, he wasn't good. There's a difference between saying that he was better than he'd been on the left and saying that he was actually good, because I don't think Bernie was good. I think he was better defensively. He seemed to really do a pretty good job on Dennis Bouanga, I thought. And just to say that he's playing better on the left means that I saw an improvement in him. I still don't think he was good, and I thought Johansson was taken out of the game a lot by being on the left, and he was so much better. Johansson was when they put him back on the right. They need to not do that experiment again, because you need him on the right because he's a really, really good player over there. So this is not a solution. It just was a small ray of light on Bernie. I still think that he needs to sit, but that's a totally different discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be clear. I thought Bernie overall had a really good game, and I do think it was his best performance of the three this year. I just thought up until he took that really good confidence-inducing hit from outside the box, he just really looks like he was struggling on the right. I don't know how much he liked, or I don't know how much playing on the right hurt him or helped him or whatever it was.
Well, it allows him to go onto his good foot when he comes inside, and it allows him to line up some shooting from there. He doesn't get to do that a lot usually on the left. I don't know why he's played his whole career on the left, actually, but he has, and his comfort levels over there. So just for him to not look like he was completely shell shocked for most of the game was actually an improvement. But I don't think it's a solution, because you pulled the teeth on Johansson, which is one of your best players through the midfield, and you can't be doing that. So, like, the minute he went back over to the right, it just came alive. You're like, okay, that's what needs to be. So, like, they have to find a different solution than flipping Bernie. That's not going to work. I think part of that discussion, I think, was the idea of, like, with Martinez on the other side, who's going to go wandering all over the place. They didn't want to necessarily drag Bernie out of position, and also his head-to-head pace with Dennis Bouanga was going to be important, I think. Because there's one thing he can do defensively. The only thing he can do defensively is run with a guy. And he was able to do that on that side, I thought, fairly well.
Yeah, it's just up until that point, there was nothing in Bernie's game so far this season that really led me to believe that he was an MLS starting quality player yet. And then after that hit, there were little things. He was beating guys on the ball. He was he was touching the ball past the defender and running past him. And he just seemed, I don't know what happened in that moment, but he'd suddenly now, that's what Quill sees in him. I still don't know if he's MLS starting quality for a team that's really serious about contending for anything. But I also think you're absolutely correct. The problem is that if Bernie for some reason is good on the right, well, then what in the world did you do buying Johansson? Because that's his spot.
Yeah, and it leaves you, like, Johansson left isn't the solution either. It doesn't seem to be, because that's not, he can do it. Like, he was fine, but he wasn't great. No. And it wasn't, and that's one of your best attacking moves on, is to work through that side. And Bernie, up the left, while it's not great, he does get into the box and creates a little chaos, and when Kappas is on that side over there with him, he can kind of hold it together fairly well. So I don't think that you're going to see that switch foot thing much, or in the next game. I wouldn't think, based on what I saw anyway in this game. Did Bernie do enough that he can keep his spot? That's a tough call. If there was a guy that was ready other than Deedson, who's not a great wingback, and Ricky Lewis, who's not a great wingback yet either, we might be having a completely different discussion. But
so I wanted to take a few minutes to go back and dig into this center midfielder thing, because I think the midfield is generally Dallas's biggest problem in many ways, because it's so critical to both going forward and defending. I'm just curious, my observation is the three guys that were out there in LA on Saturday night were worlds better than what we've seen in the first two games.
I would agree with you. Well, maybe not worlds. certainly Ramiro, does a good job in terms of standing right in the middle and not particularly moving. But as you saw on the goal, he didn't close down the shooter either. Now he's not. I don't know that anyone is at fault, particularly on that goal, because that goal was just spectacularly good. There's about 4 or 5 different people that they'd have made, a tiny bit faster of a reaction, or a little bit more of a close down, or Collodi is a little bit taller. Like lots of things like that that's such a really good goal. It's hard to really complain.
That's a tip your cap to the dude goal.
Kappas is out there shielding that side, and the ball passes past him. He turns around, and Martinez is there picking it up. Kappas tries to close, and Ramiro's too far away. I guess he decides it doesn't try to close, and they get an amazing hit. I don't blame any of those dudes. That was such a good hit.
I mean, if I'm either one of those guys, I'm like, there's no way he's going to try to hit this from here.
Well, he sure did.
Yeah, he did.
It was delightful.
It was,
but outside of that, I thought Valiente, I thought he had a nice first full game, but not enough to make me think wow, huge.
They've solved
this guy's
the
got all the answers. No, there's some nice things there. There was some nice touch, some nice movement. There's some nice potential, but this wasn't like an unlock the game kind of performance. But I think this trio probably is the way to go for a little bit, with the possible exception maybe of if you can get Kayik to, over the next several games, maybe relax a little bit and not be quite so Energizer Bunny, even more so than the improvement he already has made. Could he be in for Ramiro? But in the meantime, they brought Valiente to start. Kappas is basically the quill on the field, and Ramiro is the captain. So I think you're probably right, Peter, that this trio is going to be the trio for a bit, and see how it goes with Valiente, because he did show some promise and some good looking movement and some willingness to jet into the box and a little squirt. I mean, it's funny how tiny he is, but the commentators had a quote where they said Quill said that he's like Lucho, but younger and maybe wants to be here. So I'm not sure that that's a great endorsement, because Lucho didn't work out very well when he was here, but I'm willing to give that guy lots more minutes and see how it goes.
So moving to the back line, obviously the 3 is what the 3 is, but a lot of credit has to be given, and we'll talk about Collodi here in a little bit, because he obviously was a huge part of stifling LA for most of the night. This was not their worst performance, and I don't remember a moment where I was like, Ibiaga, stop it, or Shaq or whatever, or it seemed like they were a little bit more settled in this game.
Yeah, I think that has to do with Ramiro being back in there in front of him, and Kappas being in his natural spot. After the first game, they switched Ibiaga back to the left and more on the right, which is how they played all spring. So there's some comfort level there. Ibiaga did not spend the entire game yelling at his wingback as he did the previous game. So probably he's a little more focused on his own play, which is really good. Maybe part of why that went so well. But, this is the strategy, right? This low block. Matt Dole called it a bunker, but that's a little unfair. You can play a low block and not necessarily be like 11 guys behind the ball, and just to back that up, Sam in Discord found a couple stats where even though LA had 61% possession, LA still had 28 clearances to Dallas only having 25. And Dallas had 30 touches in the opponent box, only 16 from LA. Dallas did a really nice job of keeping LA out of the box. We've talked about that a lot last year. They want to make teams shoot from range. Usually that's a good strategy, other than Martinez hitting a banger. That's what it took to win this game. But that's in the end of the day, if you buy the XG, I'm not a huge fan, but if you buy it, Dallas was 1.6 to LA is 1, according to Major League Soccer. So, there's a lot to like about this performance. There's a lot to like about the defense and the solidity of what Dallas is doing and the ability to keep LA limited like that. And then end of the day, LA just had a guy, a special player, do a special thing to win the game. And if you can keep Buaga and Son that shutout and Martinez that shutout for most of the game, that's pretty good.
My bigger takeaway was the difference between this and the Nashville game, which was at home. And again, it goes back to the 3 in the midfield, because I felt like Dallas was just better And again, I want to also address this issue between bunkering and playing a low block, because you're right. Everybody who's having this conversation on your Discord should understand that there's a significant difference between parking the bus, which is bunkering, and playing a low block, which is just playing more defensively and playing out. And that's what I thought Dallas was doing much better in this game. Again, I think it's because, to your point, Kappas is playing a true 8 and Kayik isn't running all over the place with his head cut off like a chicken, and Delgado the same. There's just much more organization with those three guys that I think makes the team just look more cohesive in total than what we've seen in the first 2 weeks. And that, to me, was the biggest promise, along with the fact that there were just periods of time where they were the better team.
Yeah, I think we're seeing right now a state where the U22 initiative guys, 23, 22, 20 years old, those guys are not really ready to carry full loads yet. Well, they all sort of have potential, but Ramiro is the answer. Kappas is the answer. Valiente at like 24 is a little more mature. And just to show you how effective, you're right, Pierre, the midfield was, Dallas ended up having 15 shots and 5 on goal. That's a pretty good shot total on only 39% possession. The problem in this game was people were missing their shooting boots a little bit, not very good finishing, only 5 on target, whereas LA had 6 on target out of their 10. That's much better percentage of shots on goal. 3-1 for Dallas shots on goal versus shots is not what we want to see. We want to see a much better situation than that. And usually Musa and Farrington are better for that. But just in this game, I felt like there were quite a few chances Dallas had that they just failed to, maybe got a little panic, maybe got a little excited because they're not used to getting those kind of opportunities in LA. So, I really think, like, even though it's a loss, I think this is a really good performance. I think the Quill and this team can look at this performance and say, hey, if we can do that, we're going to be in games and we're going to win games, especially on the road. We're going to be in stuff, just because it didn't break our way this time. If once we get, settle down a little bit, maybe in front of net, and maybe keep out that world-class goal, which sometimes you just can't, but just you need to break your way in this one.
I'm probably being an asshole for saying this, but I'm going to say it. I agree with all of this, and in the context of the moment, that's absolutely true. But as a long-term fan, I'm burned out on moral victories.
I know. We try and stay in the moment, though.
I mean, I get it. You almost pulled something out of your butt in LA where you've never won before. But I think if I'm just trying to look at this through a positive lens, they played way better. I don't think any of us thought they would. That would end up being a 1-0 kind of battle the way it played out. And there were parts of this. Look, I compared to the other two games, there were way more things in this game that I thought were good indicators and positive signs than anything I took from the first two games combined, even in the win, frankly.
Yeah, LAFC is a legit cup contender, and that was a pretty good showing for a team that basically is a mid-table team. FC Dallas. Yeah. So that was a good performance.
The other thing that dawned on me was now we've had 2 games in a row where they've played real contenders, one from the East, one from the West. And my other takeaway that I think is the common thread is I was disappointed in the performance of both of those opponents. Like, I was kind of like, is that really Nashville? Is that really LAFC? And then it dawns on me, maybe that's just Dallas making it hard for both of those teams to play. And I'm not giving Dallas enough credit.
Remember, this formation is about locking it down, right? 5 across the back, 3 across the front, right in front of them.
It is a 5-3-2. I don't want anybody trying to sell me this is a 3-5-2. No. It is not. It is a 5 in the back, 3 in a flat line right in front of them, and 2 guys way up front and a lot of space in between them.
It's a Quill Christmas tree, the gift that keeps on giving.
I'm not even sure it's a Christmas tree,
it's
Buzz.
Not. It's definitely not a Christmas tree. It's a Quill tree. That's what I'm saying.
It's like a tree that's had its top end lopped off and thrown way down the field.
It's a really wide base with a tiny little, with 2 dudes up. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say that's my other. If I do have a running concern, is the fact that this formation is set up that it's going to be hard for them to build consistent attacks because there's so much space between the back 8 and the front 2.
Well, this is why we've been saying all spring why wingback play is so huge and why we really like what Johansson's bringing to the table. Some of those crosses he was putting in were phenomenal late in the game. Once he went
more
back to the right.
more
crosses. This is why it's such a problem that Bernie is not doing very well on the left. Like, you have to solve the left. for this to all work. And this is why it was really important to get Cabas back as a linking 8. And it's really important to get Valiente to become this 8 or free 8 or whatever you need him to be. Like, you got to fix the left for Bernie, and you got to get Valiente going. And I think you're going to be in pretty good shape for a team that's a mid-table team that you're going to hope is going to start to push a little bit. You're not going to be LA like a legit 100% cup contender like this year, but you're going to get yourself into the middle and up and start to push towards those better parts of the standings, I think, if those two things can happen.
Yeah, and the problem is they don't really have an option beyond Bernie on the left-hand side.
Not yet, but Ricky Lewis has potential. Dietzon's obviously got some verticality over there. Let's talk about Nolan Norris, even though we're not going to get into the 11 yet, but let's talk about why we don't talk about him at left wing back, because coach doesn't talk about him at left wing back. Like, they just did this profile on Nolan, and he talked about left back, left center back 6. He did not mention wing back. He lacks the verticality that Quill needs in this particular formation. So, like, the idea that, like, oh, just put Norris out there, that doesn't work.
Mm-mm.
Like, Norris could be left center back in this system. He could be in for Ibiaga, and that, or maybe as a 6 if you need him. But, like, other than Dietzen or Lewis, then you start talking about Torquato. Now, Torquato has some verticality, but he's so inexperienced and raw that, like, he got some minutes last year. You don't want to have to go back to him yet. You want to let him play at North Texas for a while. And then after that, you get into, like, ideas like, can somebody else center back so Shaq Moore could go over there? That's getting really desperate. You want to have one of those 3 guys that we've been talking about come through for you and become equivalent of Johansson on the other side.
Yeah, and then I think absolutely we need to spend some time talking about the great night Mr. Collodi had. You mentioned this in your 3-thing reaction video after the game. There was a real coming out of Michael on this evening. There was just kind of a vibe and a look and kind of a, I don't know, glow coming off the guy.
Yeah.
That was really apparent, and he was great, man. I mean, he could do no. I don't know if any keeper in the world saves Martinez's banger. That thing's unbelievable.
Well, yeah.
That's an almost perfect hit. But I thought Collodi was really, really solid all the way through, and I was feeling plenty pleased about his performance.
Yeah, it's not 5 saves is good, right? And some of those saves were on people that are really talented. But it wasn't the saves, as you say. It was the way he carried himself. Like, the first couple of games this year,
we needed the bandana back. That's how badass he looked.
Right. He was a little nervous, a little uncomfortable the first couple of games. But this game, he was back to last year's confidence. The way he carried himself, the body language, the eyes, the look, like staring down people when he was making saves. Like, he was feeling it. And that's the Collodi you need. When Collodi's like that, you're great. When Collodi's nervous and everyone's looking at him like, what are you doing? Versus like in this one where he's like, everyone's like, you're the man. We love you. You could see the defense feeding off of it. I thought all game. I thought it was his presence alone that got a man of the match for me.
The other observation I had was how many of these come out and punch the ball away would Paz even have tried?
Yeah, he's not. That was one of Paz's weaknesses. His crosses. When Collodi started doing that last year, Paz started trying to bring it more to his repertoire. But he's not as good at it as Collodi, which is really funny because he's like 3 inches taller than Collodi. But
yeah, I know. Yeah, it's weird.
I don't think any was. I mean, Paz seems to be doing great at Ajax. Hey, good for him. Awesome. He's starting, but Collodi's doing a great job here. And if he plays like this, he could be FC Dallas' starting keeper for a long time. It would take a really remarkable set of performances to knock him out by somebody else coming in here.
Well, he almost took Chris Kappas' head off coming out for one of those punches. So take them all out. I don't care. I love it. I think it's great. Musa and Farrington up top. One of the weird explain to me the substitution of taking Farrington off, and who else did he take off in that substitution? It was Farrington and there were 2.
Valiente and Romero.
Okay.
Oh, Romero was 5 minutes later. Yeah.
So who were the 2 that he took off? Farrington and who?
Farrington for Ricky Lewis. Ricky Lewis went and played like a high 9 with Musa underneath, strangely, and Valiente went off for Kaik.
Okay, I don't get that.
Well, 5 minutes later, Delgado came on for Ramiro. So like it was basically putting some energy in. Kayika in as a 6 and Delgado in for Valiente is basically what happened over a 5-minute window. It wasn't.
But I don't understand the Farrington sub. Like, why take Logan off? Logan was. I didn't feel. Neither Musa or Farrington were having a huge night, and obviously Logan's probably ruining his one chance that he probably should have tried faster. That Lloris just did a better job of. I just thought it was a weird sub in the moment.
Well,
Buzz.
Sometimes you don't take a guy out because he was poor specifically, but you bring on another guy just to be fresh. And Lewis is a guy that can play over the top and run. So like if you're playing pretty low block, and LA's coming on and taking more and more shots and you need to extend the field and run, that would be why Lewis would be in over Farrington.
Are you saying to me that Eric Quill had a mission for Ricky Lewis to immediately run out on the field in his debut and stomp on the toes of a World Cup winner off the bat as his very first thing as a professional soccer player? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I'm saying that not all subs are because the guy coming off was playing bad. Sometimes it's like, I just want to get on a fresh attacker and what I have on the bench is Ricky Lewis because that's all he had at that point. Right.
Well, it's the only thing he did all night was step on Lloris's toes 30 seconds after stepping on the field.
Well, he did have, let's see, he had 4 shots. No, passes. He had 4 passes.
Oh, I was like, there's no way he had 4 shots.
I saw the 4 and I thought maybe it was shots. And he didn't see much of the ball. It's not his fault the ball didn't come to him. It didn't work, obviously, but, he's trying to freshen it up, trying to get some legs on there. If you look at the bench, the pieces he had available, well, Norris is not an attacking piece. Delgado he brought in for Ramiro to get some attack going. Sarver maybe, but Sarver is not a high 9. You could have brought Sarver in and played him sort of underneath, but was Dietzen already in the game at that point? Let me check the feed.
No, I think the thing that you're talking about here, Buzz, is exactly the thing that we've been worried about. Is there's just not a lot of options.
No.
Once you get past once you get past 12, maybe 13, you just don't have a lot to get yourself back into a game with. There's a lot of really young players, Yeah,
he had Dietzen available, but Dietzen is not a 9. Dietzen's a wing. He wants to come way over by the sideline and come cutting in. Lewis is the only center channel forward that he had available. And so without changing the shape, that was the choice, basically.
Yeah. It was funny, Dunny was on the call with Max for Apple. And, Dunny obviously is from Salt Lake and spent a lot of time as their TV guy. So he's really pro Anderson Julio. And he was very much making a big noise about how Anderson Julio got hurt and it was out for the game and how that was going to really affect Dallas. And, I'm just not the biggest Anderson Julio fan. Sorry. But I do think he's really good. I think he could be an effective player coming off the bench. And I have to admit, this was a game maybe they could have used Anderson Julio.
Yeah, Anderson Julio would have been the sub instead of Ricky Lewis if he hadn't been hurt. I thought it was interesting that they claimed that Anderson Julio was going to start that game. I thought if that's true, that's really surprising. They definitely said that, talking about Anderson Julio.
I wonder if they just wanted the speed of him versus Logan.
Maybe make him sit back. I'm not sure. I find it unlikely that would be the case because Farrington and Musa both have been playing really well. Maybe one of those guys had a slight knock or something, and they were going to give him a little rest, versus until Anderson got hurt. So, secondhand, listen, when Quill has those meetings with those commentators, he does not tell them the truth. I mean, we've seen those guys come on the air and be like, "Oh yeah, Benjamin's going to play left wing back today." You're like, "No, he's not." "Oh no, Quill told us." No, I mean he may have, but he's not. It was. Last year it was Delgado was going to play wing back, and I was like, "No, he's not." So he may have been like, "Oh yeah, we're thinking about starting Anderson Julio up top." No. He's hurt, so you can't believe everything that Quill tells those guys, or even half of what Quill tells those guys. But I speaking of Dunny and Max, I couldn't believe they did plain old greats and left out Chad Deering.
I know.
Win. I mean, 2 great U.S. greats. I mean greats relative, but still, Deering played at a World Cup. William Wynn's got a bunch of caps.
Jeff Agus was Pierce, right? He wasn't Plano.
Yeah, I want to say Richardson Pierce.
And Keaton Parks wasn't Plano either. Keaton Parks is from Frisco.
Yeah, Parks is the Frisco kid and played for Armando Perez, who hates FC Dallas.
Yeah, they butchered all that. More than they should have.
Yeah.
To leave Deering out and
next time check with us. We'll let you know.
Yeah, guys, just call Buzz.
Yeah, or Peter. Either one. They got your number. I know Doug's got my number. He can hook me up. Let me know.
Oh, hi, Dan.
Hello.
Sorry, I didn't mean to feel. I hope you don't feel left out. I haven't addressed you or talked to you or included you at all. I'm terrible at this job.
Had a very busy weekend, and unfortunately, I didn't get to watch Luton, didn't get to watch FC Dallas, didn't get to watch North Texas SC, didn't get to watch Dallas Trinity. So I'm about as much use as a chocolate teapot right now.
Oh, wait, a what?
Chocolate teapot. That's pretty useless.
Chocolate teapot. Okay,
yeah,
all right,
it's pretty useless.
I dig it. Well, I hope whatever else you were busy doing got done successfully and to your satisfaction.
Mostly. Unfortunately, part of it was playing soccer yesterday morning and got a real nice dead leg, so that's fun.
Oh, no. How are the Husky Hive doing this season?
Unbeaten so far.
Wow.
Have you hit a banger? Have you hit a Martinez banger?
No, I had a tap in yesterday, though.
All right, good for you.
Does that help?
All right. Did you score a hat trick on your weight loss program?
Yes.
That's awesome. I think that's cool.
We just found out today some guy in one of the UK leagues hit 55% of his body weight.
Wow. Meaning he's lost 55% of his body weight since he started doing this. That's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Wow. Okay. All right. Very good. Congratulations. Well, anyway, Dan, do you have anything you want to throw in here or a question you want to ask about the game in some way? I just want to make sure you feel included.
No, not really. I mean, I've been kind of absorbing.
You know what? I was pleasantly surprised to find out that LAFC was not wearing those god-awful gold shorts matched with that new shirt that they debuted, because in some of the original press photos when they were showing off the new shirt, it was paired with shorts the color of the gold, and that was awful. But they weren't wearing that last night. They were wearing black shorts last night.
Yeah, there's definitely make or break that kit. That's why when we were doing all the kit ranking stuff, I had them down bottom 5 in the league because the combination I'd seen was that god-awful gold.
Yes. And I really do not like the Inferno kit. I'm just going to say it again. I'm going to keep saying it until we get out of that thing. But my hope is that the new DNA kit is so good and so best level that they've got an equally good plan for replacing the Inferno kit next year.
Oh, man, I hope so.
That'd be good.
Go back to the Ranger one. That was the best secondary. The tornado.
Just without the quality control issues this time.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else about Dallas's loss in LA 1-0 that we want to discuss? No? Covered that pretty well?
I think so.
Yeah. Good scenes. I think the guys the weather looked amazing. The field looked great. The atmosphere looked wonderful in that stadium. It's such a good spot. If either one of you haven't been yet, or anybody who's listening hasn't had a chance to go to BMO, please, by all means, experience that. It's really, really good. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's on my list. So
Saturday, they come back and have another very important home game. Guys, got to collect these points before that brutal summer stretch begins. San Diego. And then, of course, we say all that, and we think they've had it bad luck by having to play Nashville and LA. Now they got San Diego and Mikey Vargas rolling into town. Your former assistant coach is now, coach of the year contender, is showing up with the San Diego Wave. So, Dan, what do you got for us on that?
Well, 2 weeks in a row playing a team that hasn't conceded a goal yet this season. That's always fun. First week, 5-0 against Montreal, 2-0 against St. Louis, who are terrible. 1-0 against SKC this weekend, who are terrible. I guess the encouragement is, Sporting
They've been
Kansas
trending
City
down in goal scoring.
Well, that and Sporting Kansas City kind of held them to a pretty, the possession was hugely lopsided, but they held them to a pretty low-ish XG, and they kind of disrupted them in the middle quite a bit, as we've seen them do to FC Dallas over the years. I think that the big concern, right, is you've got Anders Dreyer on the right. So, okay, let's say Bernie goes back to the left-hand side. You've got your MLS newcomer of the year matching up against Bernie Kamungo. And then you mentioned previously about the midfield being the problem area. You've got Oni Valakari coming out of midfield. So, do you have Ramiro there and hope he can keep up? Do you pull Kapis back and then, suddenly you're worried about, okay, well, how are you progressing the ball in the midfield? It's going to be, I don't know. There's definitely a couple of tough decisions that Quill's got to make there.
I think in that midfield, you got to stick with Ramiro and just not ask him to go anywhere. Just tell him to stay put, which really helps because, Kapis and Valiente can react. And then you can bring in, and tell Ramiro up front, hey, you're only playing like 60, put it all out there. Kaik will come in with like 30 minutes left. I mean, that performance in LA, I think, was really strong across the board. I don't think there's anything that needs to be changed other than putting Johansson back on the right. And you just got to continue to let Bernie do it, or else, roll the dice and put Lewis out there and see what happens. Let Dietzen have a game and see what happens. Given that so far, neither one of those guys has come in and like done something that made you go, oh, screw Bernie, go with that guy. It's kind of a crapshoot really until you play. And that means Quill will, I think, will probably stick with Bernie just because that's been his guy and he's had the reps and the experience and the comfort level with Ibeagha. Maybe Ibeagha could yell at him less. That'd be good. But I don't know that Dietzen or Lewis gives you a better option right this minute. There would be something to be said for just let Lewis play in, let him just have the games, and accept some mistakes. Except how often we talked about this, you got to pile up these points at the beginning of the year because after the World Cup, your schedule is going to be a disaster. So like you have to be grinding. Even if you have to grind at home, you have to get points here. And so that's why you stick with Bernie. That's why you don't do something else and mess, because that's the least bad right this minute choice in terms of like a starting 11 and a comfort level with the coach. So
yeah, I think if you're going to start messing around with the lineup, you've kind of got the mini run of games coming up after Houston, where it's DC, St. Louis, LA Galaxy, that you could, you could have a little bit of experimentation and you can give up a few extra minutes potentially. But yeah, you don't, I mean, obviously last season they got smacked both times by San Diego. They don't have a good record against that team so far. They really do need to put something right there. It feels like the building blocks are in place. You've seen Farrington and Musa drop back more often so far this season than previous. That will help them break up, really pressure the build out from the back for San Diego.
And you can't let them score 5.
No. and the low block as well. That seemed to have some success for Sporting Kansas City. Granted, the keeper stood on his head, which Collodi can do.
Yep.
That's not beyond reason, but at the same time, Dallas is a better top to bottom team than Sporting Kansas City.
For sure.
Yeah. And we seem to say this every week, but hey, San Diego does have Champions League in the week, so maybe they say, "Oh, yeah, piling up the games early on. Need to rest somebody."
Yep.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Saturday night, 7:30, Toyota Stadium. San Diego comes into town. Dallas, with the loss, fall to 1. This is the most symmetrical and very FC Dallas way of state. 1-1-1 with a goal differential of 0. And they are right there on the Mendoza line in 9th place in the play-in. At this particular point,
feels like home.
It's the natural confines of right there on the border. The Galaxy are ahead of them. I don't know why they have LA in front of them because their goal differential is also 0, but they've scored more goals, so that's probably
best team in Texas right now, though.
Yes, Austin down in 11th and Houston in 12th. So, but Houston has no, they've all played the same amount of games. All right, so there you go. All right, that's it for Football Club Dallas. Move on to other stuff. Well, I guess probably before we go, we should mention the Leagues Cup because that's the other thing that came out since we last mentioned, and we got a lot of. I'm not even sure we had anything answered because the big question was, look, they're going to get this Leagues Cup schedule announced, and they're going to end up playing Mexican clubs, but where in the world are they going to play these games? And we assumed Mansfield, but August 5th, Quintaro, August 8th at Chivas, and then August 12th at Toluca. So is the Chivas game officially?
Yes.
It's an at game for Chivas, but we don't know where they're going to play it?
It's in the U.S. Yeah. It's not a home game for FC Dallas, but it's in the U.S. The Toluca game is at Toluca. And the Quintero game is a FC Dallas quote unquote home game, but again, can't use Toyota, so it's going to be at a U.S. location. So both Quintero and Chivas are in the United States at yet to be determined locations.
All right, I'm going to speculate they'll play the Quintero game in Mansfield as part of debuting that the new stadium over there and trying to help pimp that thing. That seems to make sense because that fan base isn't sizable enough to feel like you're leaving money left on the table at 7,500.
No.
Maximum capacity. But Chivas is the one that creates all kinds of problems because the idea of trying to play Chivas in a 7,500 seat stadium, as nice as it is, seems like you're leaving all kinds of money on the table. But then you start asking questions. Well, where else can they play that game? They can't play it at AT&T Stadium because the World Cup field will almost certainly have been torn up by then. And they're not going to play it at the Cotton Bowl. At least I can't imagine the Hunts are up for doing business with the city of Dallas. So are they going to play this in a completely different city, like go down to Houston or
that's
God forbid Austin?
The rumor is Houston. Wow. That's what I hear. That's not like a confirmed report.
At the Dynamo at Dynamo Stadium?
No, just in Houston is all I've heard. I don't have a venue. That's just the leading idea is in Houston. It might be at RNG. I don't know, man. I don't know where it's going to still have grass in it. The Cowboys have a preseason game, within like a week of that date. So like, you're right. The World Cup field will be gone. It would have to be, they could roll in that turf that they use for like the Gold Cup, but I don't think MLS will want to do that. League MX won't want to do that.
Well, there's also a big K-pop band rolling in for a 2-night stint like the week after. So I can't imagine they're going to want to go through the hassle of rolling dirt and grass and everything in and out while they're trying to build Korean Taylor Swift is coming to town.
And maybe the Dynamo Stadium is the place. I mean, that's, it's a mess. We don't have any real concrete reporting to do here other than like some backdoor whispers. So like we're going to be as mystified as anybody else when we get a real answer, but it's apparently not going to be in Dallas is what we're getting. This DFW, but Metroplex at all. So that'll be fascinating. Particularly that's part of why I think it's called, why they label it as at Chivas, because that way there's the out of like, oh, well, no, Chivas picked the venue, kind of thing, more than it is like Dallas picking the venue, because it's not Dallas's game, it's Chivas's game.
You remember in previous editions they've had the regional hubs, and Chivas their hub has been in California primarily, and then it was I think Tigres that used Houston. Yeah,
Chivas in LA, that's a massive market for them. So maybe they'll try and do something in LA.
They may play it. Yeah, they could play it at the Coliseum.
Yeah,
so they even played at Levi's Stadium a couple years ago for it.
Well, I'm just trying to think of a place that is a grass field that wouldn't cost them any money to have to do a grass installation.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the LA stadiums off the top of my head. Not the World Cup venue, because that'll be the one that's coming apart too. They'll go back to turf for the Rams. Yeah. So
no, it wouldn't surprise me now that I'm thinking about it that they announce something like the Coliseum in LA or something like that, and make it just a true Chivas home game.
Rose Bowl.
It is, yeah. Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. So do we know what the how the tournament is structured in terms of who gets out of groups and everything? Like, is it just the first place team goes out, or the first and second?
I believe so. Don't quote me, but I believe it's the first team, because they can't have knockouts forever.
Right.
They have to shorten a little bit.
It's probably just the first team in every group. Okay.
There's only 6 groups.
So let's see. Yeah. 6 groups, first in each. So you'd have through.
Maybe it is the first 2. Google quick.
It does go to a quarterfinal stage, so I'll probably do
top 2.
Well, yeah, top 1, and then a couple of second place finishers, something like that.
Okay. All right. Well, obviously that will be interesting.
Yeah, because they also, it's going to be fixed, so it's all MLS versus Liga MX, so that regardless of positions, there'll have to be 4 of each.
Okay. I asked this question when we started mentioning this, and I need to ask Andy Swift this question because he would have a real answer about the idea of going to Toluca to be there at that game. Is that a good travel idea for an American?
I have no clue. Andy would know, but more than me.
Interesting. All right, there you go. Leagues Cup schedule. Let's move on to Dallas Trinity that had.
Well, you want to at least give Petr Musa his props for his call up to Croatia while we're on FC Dallas.
See, I'm just not used to this. Not in red crayon. That's right. They did announce. They did make the big announcement, Buzz.
Yeah, it's just 2 games down there at Camping World Stadium in Orlando, but a nice camp. It's probably what you'd have to consider a tune-up camp or like a last chance camp. But they're playing Colombia and Brazil on Thursday, and then the next Tuesday. He won't miss any games for FC Dallas. It doesn't sound like, so that's good. I think that's true.
Yeah, no,
because he leaves after the Houston game. So, a nice tune-up for him and a chance for him to make the team. So let's cheer for him and hope he does well in those games. So,
for sure. You mentioned Camping World Stadium, and you mentioned Orlando, and I saw the news that I guess Oscar's having a real bad run with Orlando City, and after getting pummeled by New York City 5-0, there was a lot of speculation that he was going to get the boot. I thought, could Oscar just sit around and just take a sabbatical until the beginning of next season, maybe?
Well, it's not like they're going to have an open position for him, I don't think. I mean, if FC Dallas craters and crashes and burns, maybe they would fire Quill if he misses the playoffs. I don't think they're going to fire Zanata, because Oscar. When I talked to Oscar last about FC Dallas and would he come back here someday, he told me he would come back someday as a sporting director to run soccer operations, basically. So, unless I don't know, everyone needs a job. So if he's out of a job and FC Dallas needs a coach, would they call them? I don't know. I would hope so. But I think he would want to come back here when he's ready to be Zanata's job, and Zanata's not getting out here anytime soon. So,
all right, well, let's move on to Dallas Trinity. Pegasus had a big game and a big win on the weekend, Buzz.
Yeah, Winnie Balata and Amber Wisner both were the team of the month for February for the league. That's pretty cool. And Graciie Brian retired at 24. That's less cool, but
that old lady.
Apparently she was she got married over the off season or over the winter, and was just ready to move on with what was next in life. And they're adding a bunch of players, and perhaps, this is my speculation, perhaps she was losing some playing time and was like, you know what, I'm ready to go do whatever's next. So good luck to her. But yeah, they took on Lexington Sporting Club, which is the second place team in the league, and they on the road. And one of their newer signings, Heather Stainbrook, who I am soccer infatuated with. She's an absolute baller, plays as a 6. If they can hold on to her, she's Wisner's long-term replacement, obviously. But this game was incredibly boring. It was absolutely awful. It was 2 teams playing really defensive, and nobody did anything for 90 minutes. And then all of a sudden, Caroline Swan did a nice dummy run through the box and left it for Stainbrook, and she scored in the 90th minute, and they basically stole the game on the road. So Trinity now sits in third on 27 points with 1 game in hand. They were already in third before, but they closed the gap on Lexington in front of them. So this is a kind of gritty road performance that really makes a big difference when you're trying to climb in the standings and knocking off a team ahead of you. It was a 6-point game, if you will. So strong performance in the sense of not letting Lexington get a goal and stealing it late. It's nice to see that team gelling with all their new pieces, and we're hearing some chatter. There might be one or two more pieces to come too. So stay tuned on Trinity.
They are third with a negative goal difference. That's crazy.
Well, we noticed all those kind of oddities last season in this league.
Yeah. But I mean, Lexington's still ahead of them by 3 points. 17 goals difference between them.
Crazy.
Trinity's having a real trouble on the offensive end this year. They had the Golden Boot winner from last year, and she's not even starting now. They really struggled getting her the ball, and they're really struggling creating chances, which is crazy because Missimo's back in there, and so far not producing a lot of assists or key chances. I think part of it is that they've been struggling to replace Wisner because Wisner's been playing in the back, and they struggle to replace Deb Abadoun. Winnie Balata keeps making leagues teams of the month, but she is not the same players that they had in there before. So it's just not offensively working really well. So it's good to see them clamp the defense down, but they're going to figure out the offensive end if they're going to get going.
Well, it says here that 4 of their next 5 are at home, and those are obviously very important since they had to play a lot of road games last fall in the first half of the season.
Yeah, they got a road game this Thursday at DC Power, which is at 6 p.m., and then they get 4 straight at home after that. And check out the White Rock Brewing Company for the watch party if anyone was into that on Thursday. So I don't know a lot about DC Power except to know that they're much further down the standings. So this is one of those road games where you think you can go in there and get a win, and they're going to need to do that because it would give them good momentum when they're coming into the 4 straight games of the Cotton Bowl when they can actually make some hay.
Well, the first 2 as well against Lexington and Sporting Jack. So you're playing second again, then first.
Yep.
All right. Go Pegasus. Let's see. Moving on to North Texas, and I don't know how we didn't actually just start the whole podcast off with this news because we didn't talk about this. I think it happened since we did the last episode. Is that the return of club legend Matt Hedges is coming back within the fold as an assistant at North Texas. And it dawned on me, did Matt not sell his house here when he was off playing everywhere else after he left?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that he kept it and that his family was still here because his kids were
really
at school.
Okay.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. I'm not obviously,
What year did he start playing? How many years did he play, but not for Dallas? 3 more?
I want to say 2, one with Toronto, one with Austin. I think it was.
Okay. Yeah,
I think.
Well, what's everybody's reaction to this news?
Oh, it's great. Like when Hedges was playing, he and I talked several times about how he wanted to coach when he was done. When they actually hired him, he talked a little bit about making a decision about whether he wanted this to be his career. But we talked about it way back, when he was a player. At that time, he was more interested in coaching kids, like 12, 13-year-old kids. But they've been using him at North Texas for 3 or 4 months or so. And he apparently really liked it. So they added him, and that's fantastic because the dude was an absolute phenomenal center back and played with his brain, not just his body. So if he can pass on some of that understanding and ability, and so much about playing center backs about learning and experience and being able to see the game. And if he can impart any of that stuff, it'll be fantastic. And right now with Slade Starnes there, they have the same physical profile. So I'm really excited about that coaching to player matchup and see if they can turn Slade into the player that I think he's going to be. That'll be exciting.
Is there any chance he's an emergency center back fill-in for the senior team?
No. No. Stop it.
Okay. All right. And then the team, I guess, was this the first game of the season or second game of the season? The game over Rapids.
Second.
It's the second game of the season. They open on the road at Real Monarchs.
That's right.
That's the second game of the season. Yeah, remember they lost a shootout after
That's
they let
right.
in a late goal. No, this one they dominated 3-1. Edu Nys is still killing it. He had a hat trick in this game, and he had a goal in the first game too. So he's got 4 goals on the season. He's doing an absolute phenomenal job. It was an absolutely fascinating to me quote in our report from the game where Gall basically said that he sat down with this kid and did an interview with him before the draft and tried to sell this kid on how he should come to North Texas and play for him and basically be the point guy and the lead guy, lead the offense, and how it would be a really good thing for his career. So they went into the draft with Gall having identified and wanting to sign this guy. So they picked him just for that team, but he's already doing fantastic things. Like, you have to dominate. If you're going to make it to MLS, you have to dominate MLS Next Pro. And I know it's only 2 games, but he's doing that, at a clip that Sam Sarver did last year. And Sam Sarver's now with the first team. So this guy's from Belgium, Edu Nys. He went from Belgium to a community college in the United States and dominated, was like community college player of the year for whatever league he was in, or whole conference, and then went from there to UIC, University of Illinois Chicago, and tore that league up, and then now he's been drafted. So he's got a really weird path, but
he's a striker?
No, he's a 10.
Oh, okay.
So we were joking. They're like, hey, we found FC Dallas is 10 because he's phenomenal in these 2 games. So obviously, like, there's a big jump between North Texas and FC Dallas.
What's his physical profile?
Taller than Valiente, but about like that, similar sort of player. Lots of movement, lots of energy. Like, Dallas loves those guys that'll move, and this kid works hard all over the field. So really talented so far. 2-game sample, but super exciting when you're talking about a developmental team. And the other player that's standing out for me is that there's 2 other players standing out for me. Swan went down and finally played and looked great. Of course, he's basically beaten out Diego Gracia in the Dallas pecking order, which is fascinating because they really like Diego Gracia, and Swan's a couple of years younger and beat him out. And then Slade Starnes is doing a great job at center back, captain of that team. It looks the part, looks exactly like I thought it was going to be. Obviously, he needs to progress and get better and better, but Alvaro Augusto's not playing down there right now, bizarrely. I don't know why he's not, because he's not playing for FC Dallas either. So Slade's carrying the load.
Because I've seen them both kind of in action photos and everything. I'm curious if either one of you have developed an opinion as to which version of the blue and red hoops you prefer, the senior team or the second teams.
I have an opinion, yeah.
Okay.
Dan, you want to go first? Go ahead.
I like the first team ones, honestly.
With the white in between?
I do. It's a nice touch.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing for me. I like that little white trim. And the Dallas one, the North Texas one is great. It's good, but it needs, because it is just red and blue, it needs something. It needs like the white shorts even more than the first team was. The first team went with the little white mini hoop, pin hoop looks, gives it a little flair, which is nice.
Yeah. Okay. Dig it. They play in Austin on Sunday at 7:30. And Austin apparently is terrible, is what it says here.
Beware the odds of Monch.
It says Austin effing sucks. Love Buzz.
It just says they're winless with 1 point. It does not say that.
Oh, sorry.
Same thing.
Whatever.
Same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, and then Rodeo is at it. And they're starting to make a little bit of noise here and there.
Yeah, they and Atletico both put out stuff, 1 year from today we're playing. But Rodeo has a brand launch party on the 27th at the Silos in Salina, 8 p.m. You can be out there and be one of the first people to see their logo. I hope they stick with the brown and tan color palette. And the cool font that you're using is like, it's so good. I'm hoping the logo is going to live up to the rest of it. Anyway, I'm excited to see that. And if you're excited for that, you should get out there at the Silos in Salina at 8 p.m.
Excellent. And then last but not least, they finally got around to announcing all the plans for the fan festival for the World Cup, which will be out at Fair Park, and a lot of it is being held specifically at what I call Starplex.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I think it's called
Dos Equis Pavilion.
Dos Equis Pavilion. It's so weird to me that like I saw this in the press release and I'm like, what the F is the Dos Equis Pavilion? And I'm like, oh, it's Starplex. And I realized it's been around for so long now. There's an entire generations of kids who've never even heard of Starplex. So they're just as confused when I say Starplex as I am when somebody calls it Dos Equis. So that's
otherwise
funny.
Known as the place I saw the first Lollapalooza 35 years ago.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So many great nights at the Starplex back in the day. 100%.
Yep.
So it's going on. It's open for more than a month. It opens on June the 11th and runs through July the 19th. All kinds of stuff is going on out there. And it should be, and it's free. And it should be a really, really good time. So that they're going to be showing games, and I think they're going to start showing games early in the morning all the way through the evening, except for games that start. And there, by the way, if you haven't looked at the schedule yet, there is a fair share of games starting at 9, 10, and even 11 o'clock Central Time during the tournament. So the ones that start at 10 or later, they will not be showing at the Fan Fest.
They have some super cool renderings of the Starplex, Peter, as we would call it, with these big, huge TV screens all over it with the big crowd, and it looks phenomenal. It looks like it's gonna be an absolute ball for everybody out there.
Yeah, we've been finalizing all of our broadcast plans for the World Cup kick around. We finally got it done. And it's we're pretty excited. We're going to be doing a live wrap-up show every evening, with the exception of a few Sundays during the run of the tournament. We're going to be doing over 30. I think we're doing 36 episodes and over 40 hours of programming over the course of the time. Andy will be here, and if you haven't heard the great news, Lars Siverstad is coming over and will be here with us in studio during the entire tournament. So it's going to be a big deal, and it will all be live on the ticket, and we may even have a video streaming partner. We're waiting to try to finalize those details as well. So everybody.
And what time of day is the show, Peter? You said this after
every night, Monday through Friday. The show will be at 7 p.m. after the hard line. There is a couple of so there is a game where if the U.S. finish, I got to think about this. If the U.S. finish first in their group, they would play on the 1st of July, and that game would start at 7 p.m. Central Time, which means we would probably go at 6, something like that. So there'll be a little bit of flexibility needed over the course of the tournament based on how things going. We'll be doing some remotes too in the group stage games when the U.S. plays.
Awesome.
And some other remotes. Yeah, it's going to be a blast, man. I'm going to be really tired because I'm doing all the updates on the station during the run of the tournament as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to having Lars back in town, and we're going to do some nights where people are going to get to go meet Lars in person and see him and come out and see him. We're going to try to do that in various locations all over DFW because I know everybody loves them a little Lars.
Yeah. Sure.
So we'll have all that announced and finalized here in the next couple of weeks. So there's a sneak peek for you. And then the other thing that got announced since the last time we talked is that they've essentially said, look, we nobody picked any of the Dallas locations, so we're just going to assign Mansfield and Toyota Stadium to whoever wins a couple of these different FIFA play-in groups. So we could have anywhere from Albania to North Macedonia to the Irish to the Danish to living and playing somewhere between those two places. Essentially, Clark Hunt brother outdid little brother Dan Hunt when it comes to World Cup base camp winners. Because for those who don't know, Clark is in charge of the local organizing committee for Kansas City, and Kansas City got Germany, England, and the Netherlands staying up there. Dan is in charge of the top of the Dallas organizing committee, and they did not get anybody that flashy.
No, it's a little hotter here.
It's not really.
No, but you could end up with Sweden or Ukraine or Denmark. Those are all quality clubs, man. It's not the hype of.
Andy and I talked about this on the show, and Andy makes a really good point. First off, base camps are for the teams themselves and not the fans. Fans don't base where the teams base. They base where the teams play. And so that's why, it's not, I mean, the facilities are making the same amount of money, whether it's Albania or the English. So that they all pay the same rate to get the facilities. So it's not that big of a deal. You really are more worried about what games you got. And we are so overflowing with amazing games for the World Cup, and we also got the broadcast center and everything else that we've been awarded. Not getting Argentina to be up at Frisco is really a minor note in all of this.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It's not like it's, as you say, Peter, it's not like it's like this team's going to show up at the Fan Fest or something. they're going to be sequestered away, and
there's a question. The practices are all closed. It's not like you get to go watch anybody practice. All of that.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're going to see Messi at HEB, or at the AMC watching a movie or anything. So, it's not. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah. Only to Dan Hunt was it a big deal.
Well, yeah, because I'm sure there's some brotherly competition in there. But I mean, if we're all being honest, those 3 facilities in Kansas City are amazing. They are really, really good and top notch.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. What else? Anything else we got going on? Dan, you got anything else? Oh, sorry. What were you going to say, Buzz?
Yeah, this is just a little piece of color, and I wanted to bring it up because it's related to me, but also it's related to the fact that FC Dallas can't play at their own stadium. You know how they're hunting around for the League's Cup?
Yeah.
Okay. So Seattle, the Sounders, apparently are not going to be able to use their stadium coming up because of various whatevers, probably related to the World Cup. Maybe it's related to the Seattle Seahawks for all I know. But they're playing a CONCACAF Champions Cup game against Vancouver. They're playing it here in Spokane at the little bitty 5,000 seat Spokane Zephyr Velocity Stadium.
Oh, wow.
That one Spokane Stadium. That stadium holds 5,000 people about. Maybe standing room gets to 7 or something. So
that'll be an interesting scene.
Yeah. Tough ticket to get. I tried to get one. I couldn't get one. So it'll be funny to see. So it's not just FC Dallas that's having this issue because of the World Cup. Lots of people are going to be having stadium issues coming up, and maybe they're not getting relocated for something like League's Cup or this CONCACAF game, but it's just an interesting thing to see happening, or to see these MLS teams sort of not being able to play on their own place.
Well, it's all, I mean, I'm sure Seattle's the same situation as is New England, which is they're installing all the fields in these facilities.
I assume so too, yeah.
And, New England had their game postponed because there had been so much snow. The installation of the field didn't happen in time for them to play their MLS game on it. So they had to postpone that game. I guess it was against Austin. I don't remember who it was supposed to be against. But I'm sure that's the reason of what's going on in Seattle is they're installing
the grass for the
stuff. Yeah.
That kind of stuff. And it also fascinating, since you mentioned New England, what's going on there in Foxborough with them butting heads with FIFA about we're not letting these games happen unless you pay us.
That'll all get taken care of.
Hadn't yet. It's been fun to watch.
Yeah, we'll see. There's probably bigger problems looming on the horizon than that, but I'm assuming that's just somebody, pushing a button on their bank account. So, but it is fun to watch them go through this process, and we're starting to see leaked pictures and stuff about what's going on inside the stadiums as they install these fields, and learning more about the grass that they've developed and grown for these surfaces and how it's a hybrid and all of this stuff. And I'm really fascinated to see how AT&T finishes out when it's done. I think everybody's going to be pleasantly surprised at what it looks like when it's all said and done. I'm very excited.
Yeah, me too.
Very good. What else, Dan? I know you had a whole long list of stuff you wanted to chit chat about. Maybe a story to tell, some jokes, impersonations.
Maybe it's best to save those for another week.
Okay, you're not going to sing us a song?
Not today.
You don't want to sing us out?
No, Pappy Chap does such a good job. I mean, I don't want to take money out of his pocket.
Hey, we should give Poppy a shout out, by the way. He's got a new release out on his Spotify. You guys should go check it out. Little EP, I think it is.
What's it called?
Came out a couple weeks ago. I don't know. Came out a couple weeks ago.
I Love Third Degree?
No. We're not.
Okay.
No, it's not that good. Not that kind of thing.
Yeah. Congratulations, Pappy. That's good stuff. I haven't heard that yet. I'd like to check that out. Buzz, do you have one thing about living in the Pacific Northwest now that you've been there for a few weeks that like you weren't expecting, good or bad?
Yeah. Spokane's fascinating little town because it's kind of crammed into a valley. And it's an old valley.
So the whole thing echoes a lot?
No, it's just that it's kind of built up the sides of the thing. So it means that like the amount of people here are all compressed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the town predates, is old enough with the railroad coming through here that it wasn't built with cars in mind. So bizarrely on the West Coast,
it's got opposite of where you came from.
Yeah. It's got an East Coast vibe. It's like, it feels more like Boston than it does California.
Really?
Because the way the town's laid out and the way the roads are laid out. So it's kind of fascinating, and it makes it a sort of crammed in communities in that sense. But then it's also got the West Coast sort of artisanal kind of vibe with the restaurants and the little boutiques and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really enjoying it so far.
Spokane used to be one of my wife's travel business destinations on a regular basis. She loved going to Spokane.
Yeah, it's a good town so far. I'm liking it. I've only been here 2 weeks, but it's all good.
Man, you got to scrounge up a ticket to that Vancouver-Seattle game. You got to figure that out.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Yeah, Amy's got to pull some strings for you.
I might be working it. I'll let you know.
All right, very good.
Yeah.
And since we're just sharing. This weekend, I'm not a cook, I'm not a baker, but I saw this recipe for chocolate chip banana coffee cake bread, and I made it, and it's so good that I think I need to be on a future episode of The Bear.
I think you need to send me one. Make one and send it to me. It'll ship.
It's so good. It's really good. I wish you were here to share it with me. I'm quite proud of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Package it up. I'm ready.
Okay. I'll make one for you, Buzz, and ship it off.
Thanks, man. Yep.
All right. Dan, would you like to share?
Always.
No. Would you like to share something Buzz and I were sharing? Would you like to share?
Oh, sure. I have nothing.
Okay.
I have nothing, I'm afraid.
Dan would not like to share. We have rattled on for enough. All right. Anything else? So Dan, no. Obviously, Buzz, you got anything?
No.
Okay.
I can be a real kit nerd. I bought a pair of like proper Adidas Predators for the first time. And
Whoa.
I love the things.
You love them?
Yeah.
What color?
Those are good shoes.
It's the 2024 releases, but it's like the citrus, whatever the bright ass yellow ones.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, really. I as a kid, I went on a field trip to Germany, and it was like 1998 Predator. I think it was accelerators for the World Cup, and they had these really cool bright yellow ones, and I was like, oh, they're cheap. It's Germany. It makes total sense. Never bought them. Bugged the hell out of me for like 30 years. So yeah, just bought some the other day.
Popped and bottom. Good for you.
Well, in my unpacking, it came across my soccer bag I've had since I was in high school, and in there are my
I bet that smells
I've had
good
for literally 30 years. Oh, it smells like soccer.
It smells like soccer.
Got my kangaroo copas I've had since the 80s in there.
Yeah, awesome. That's great. Hey, by the way, did I notice that a player on Dallas is wearing Skechers?
Chris Kappas is.
It is Kappas that's wearing Skechers.
Wow. I didn't know they made soccer shoes.
Well, yeah. Those are nice, Dan. Congratulations.
Yeah,
those are the turf? Are they the turf ones?
Nah, they're firm grounds.
Oh, you're wearing those on turf. All right, good. You're a brave man.
I tried them on turf to see if they'd break in, and they don't need breaking in. All right, perfect. So.
Yeah, Harry Kane is the face of Skechers. Buzz. He started like 2 or 3 years ago, and they launched a football shoe line with him as the face of it. Now, nobody believes that Harry Kane is wearing the exact same shoe that they're selling in retail stores for Skechers.
I imagine not. No.
But I was having this conversation with some of my teammates. If I showed up wearing Skechers, everybody would make fun of me.
Because you can't finish like Harry Kane.
Well, I just, there's just certain brand names that people like to give people crap about, It's like if you showed up in a pair of Patricks.
Oh, back in the day.
Well, okay. Well, that was back in the day.
Those and New Balance, it was like everything.
So when I saw somebody on Dallas wearing Skechers, I was like, okay, well, I wonder if Chris has got a deal with Skechers.
They signed up a lot of the Luton players in the Premier League season.
I've never seen them in person, so I don't know if maybe they're a really nice boot. I don't know.
Could be great. Hard to know.
Okay.
Probably really comfy.
That reminds me of one of my favorite soccer boot ads I've ever
slip
seen.
On?
Snoop Dogg's advertising them.
There was a guy who had signed for, I don't know, Adidas or whatever, and they showed a picture of him playing the game, and he's running, and his foot's coming up behind him, and clear as day on the bottom is like the Nike swoosh on the bottom of the cleat. When he was wearing a brand that he wasn't, because he was just blacking him out on the side, forgot to block out the bottom of the sole.
Uh-oh.
So they put it in the paper, and we're like, oh, guess who wears Adidas or whatever they were. I don't remember. It's a great ad.
Somebody got in trouble. Well, good talking to you guys. Hopefully we'll have something more fun to talk about next week. Or maybe we'll just see nice progression and we'll feel good about
A
the
home
team.
win will be good.
Home win would be good. All right. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Buzz.
Hey, man, thanks for being here, guys.
Yes, and thank you, DFW Soccer Curious. We'll be back next week on another episode of Third Degree, the podcast.
That was a marathon, not a sprint.
Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast.